Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Roush will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki. Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master that sales conversation. Today's episode is an on-air coaching call. You might know by now if you've listened to the podcast. These are my favorite podcast episodes. And today, our special guest is Heather Craig. She's one of our Sales Maven Society members. Heather, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nikki. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for saying yes to this.
Yes.
Okay, so tell the listeners a little bit about you and your business.
I own Thriving Waves Financial. We are a CPA firm that caters to the wellness and naturopathic health industry. And we like to work with our clients from an advisory role all the way down to bookkeeping and tax, a very holistic approach to your accounting needs. As we have found that having a more holistic look at your whole entire business, we're able to advise and guide you better throughout the years of your business.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I think what you offer is such an important service. I know a few years ago when I hired my CFO for hire, it was a game changer in my business to have somebody who could look at the financial side of my business and talk through discussions. So I know you're able to offer that. And I love that you have this niche, right? This holistic niche for the practitioners in that, because they, like me, they need help with their books, right?
Yeah. Well, I find it's the holistic and naturopathic lifestyle is important to me as a person. And so I'm able to, it feels like beneficial both ways, right? Like they're helping me and I'm helping them at the same time. And we have this really good common ground, and I understand like their business because I've been, associated with that for so long myself.
Yeah. And where are you based? Tell everybody where you're based.
I'm in Economy, Indiana, which is the middle of nowhere, USA.
But you work with clients around the U.S. or worldwide? I'm not sure about that.
Right now, everyone is in the U.S., but yes,
Okay.
all over the U.S.
That's the brilliant thing about online business now is we can work with clients all over and serve our right clients. So good.
Absolutely.
Well, I am so excited to have you here and so interested and curious to know how I can be of service today. How can I help you?
Yeah, so I am so excited to be here and to get to have this opportunity with you. And my question is, I am currently working to transition some of my current clients. What's happening is they're receiving a lot more value than what they're paying for because initially they bought a lower valued service that's retainer based.
Mm-hmm.
But I've allowed scope creep. I'm aware that I've allowed scope creep into more of an advisory service when they didn't pay for that because I couldn't stop myself. And now I have to figure out how to fix the situation.
Okay.
This is actually why I want to move into more of a subscription-based service offering, because I can't keep my mouth shut and just do the bookkeeping or just do their tax return. I'm like constantly asking a bazillion questions, wanting to understand their business and really dig in and like advise on things that they're not necessarily paying me for, but they love it.
Yeah.
But now I don't know how to fix it.
Okay. This is such an important question. And I think oftentimes as a business owner, it's super easy to let these things kind of happen. One, because you want to provide so much value to your clients. And two, you know what you know, and it feels really easy to you until you start to realize like, hey, all of a sudden, this is no longer like an extra. This is like an expectation. And yet certain clients are paying for it maybe and certain clients aren't, or you're starting to realize like there's just one of you, right? I know maybe you have a team too. Do you have a team? I feel like you do.
I do. I have a VA and an accountant.
Okay. So at some point, your time becomes more valuable and have to like start to take the reins around this. So let's kind of dig in. I feel like I have some more questions around it, but I want to check to see like what's going to be the way that is going to help you communicate this so that it's an easy transition, so that we keep rapport intact and that people feel really good about this kind of next step with you. So my first question is, do they actually know that they're getting more than they're paying for? Has that ever been communicated?
In most cases, no.
Okay. So it's kind of like I teach a lot around you. You probably have heard me talk about this, that a favor is only a favor and an extra is only an extra if the client understands how it's different than the norm. And so because we haven't communicated it yet, that this is like different than the norm, it's time to start setting some boundaries. And I will say for your existing clients, the people who have been really loyal to you, you're probably going to want to be a little flexible for a little while to help them make this adjustment and this transition. Some people might get totally like, hey, I'm out. You gave all this to me for free. Now you're asking me to pay for it. But that's okay, because that will open you up to bring on a client who isn't used to getting all of this stuff for free and will be willing to pay for it, right? So you mentioned going to like a subscription-based model or like a fee structure that then they do get access to this. So tell me a little bit more about that, because I'm wondering maybe that's how we use the transition for them.
Well, I think my thought process is just that I can't stop myself from advising also. And so let's stop putting big parameters around an engagement letter that specifies these are, I'm only doing bookkeeping, or I'm only doing tax, or I'm only doing payroll, and just make it like you have access to me at this capacity. And I guess I feel like in my gut, it would be like 3 kind of capacities. And one would be, additional meetings a month versus the other package might be just 1 meeting a month, or limited email versus faster response to email, or something in these ranges. Or would it be based on their annual revenues based on kind of where they fit into the...
Okay. So you're still kind of figuring that out.
I am.
Okay. So one thing that I would suggest maybe right off the bat is that going forward, like starting today, right? Or tomorrow, that when a client who comes with something that is outside of their normal package, even if you're like, I'm just going to answer this one, or I'm just going to give them this piece, that there needs to be some communication around them. Like, that is a really great question. That's actually something that falls into this new package that I'm offering. And so at some point, it probably makes sense for us to talk about that package for you. But for the time being, here's your answer, right? So we're starting to plant the seed, like, hey, these type of questions are going to now fall into this other type package. And when you're on a call with a client, or if you're having like a review or something of their financials, I don't know if that's where some of this is happening too. Again, where people are like, I really want to pick your brain about this, that, or the other thing, then those are those moments where you say, I actually have put together a package for this exact type of situation. Is that something you'd be interested in talking more about?
Okay.
So we have to start planting seeds. And even if you're going to just give them the answer, because there's that part of you that wants to be of service. I get it. And you want to really, give your clients all that you can give in those moments. We still have to plant the seed that this is outside of the norm. And so that when we do roll out whatever you finally decide as the package, whatever that offer is, we've primed them for it. I'm now using a behavioral economics term. So that, priming is like if you're not listening to the Brainy Business with Melina Palmer, she talks about priming. I love priming. I always call it planting seeds, but it's really like the technical term is priming. So we're priming them for something that's coming. And if I'm using this incorrectly, this is not Melina's fault. I take full responsibility for if I'm saying priming in some wrong way, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. So we want to prime. Okay. We want to get them ready that something is coming. And then at some point, we are going to need to start to have conversations with people that says, the packages have been updated. And that's probably how I would communicate it to your client. So I would say it's been updated, if you like that term. So it's a nice way of not saying like, the packages pricing has gone up or, we're making this huge pivot in our business. It's like, oh, we did some updates. And now here are the packages, the package that you're paying for, you're paying this price. It's actually now this price. What I'd like to offer you is to bump you up into this other package that's going to give you all these other things that I know will benefit your business. And if that's something you're interested in, like I have a special offer for you to upgrade. I like a special offer. I think it's incentive for people to take that next step. And it gets you closer to getting to that place where they're getting used to paying for these services from you.
Okay, gotcha.
Tell me what questions come to mind based on, I feel like I kind of threw a bunch of stuff at you, but.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think I just really have trouble having that change in pricing conversation at all, Yeah. So, and some of these clients are going to go from like $450 to a minimum of $750 a month.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now they're only paying for like bookkeeping and payroll, and they're not paying for any of the advisory, but I'm doing a ton of advisory.
Yeah. So maybe it makes sense for you for the meantime, for those people who are clients right now. Like this doesn't have to be something that you publish as an offer, but maybe you do have a $450 offer, or maybe you bump it up to $550 or whatever it is, but you keep like, here is the bare bones package, like whatever that is. And then here's all that is now being offered in this next step up. And you probably want to really highlight some of the things that they're utilizing from you, and maybe some of the things that they might not even know to be asking or utilizing you for. Mm-hmm. And really, it just comes down to kind of spelling it out. I find that it's so common that we feel really uncomfortable about raising prices or telling people that things are going to change. And I do this because I do this a lot with my clients. We go through the language and the way to have these discussions. And it's like 9 out of 10 times when somebody goes back and they're like, hey, the pricing has changed. This happened or that happened. The answer is always like, okay, from the client. Like they're ready. They're like, again, they know it's coming. And it's so easy for them to take that next step. As long as you're, again, anybody who has this shock value of like, how dare you, Heather? How could you possibly raise my price and expect me to pay for all these things that you used to give me for free? That is going to be uncomfortable. Like, just being really candid, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's also okay sometimes to release those clients so that you can make room for a client that's paying $750 versus the client that's paying $450 and is, sucking up all those extra resources and time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And I really like how you said, like, kind of, here's the pricing, here's the updated pricing for the package where you're at now, but we've been utilizing this service and this service, and we've been talking about this and this and this. And so this really isn't this other service level. Can we discuss?
Yeah. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah. And then it could also be, I'm just throwing out ideas here, not like, I'm not trying to overcomplicate your packages, but I found, so this kind of really happened to me about a year ago, where I was allowing certain people to utilize certain services that I charge my other clients for. Mm-hmm. And it was like, at first it was like a one-off, and then pretty soon it was like, 2 or 3. And then pretty soon there was like one person in particular who was doing it like all the time. And so I waited to have a conversation and it was a special group of people, like it was a coaching group. And I let them know that, hey, as of the new year, things are going to be changing. This is a service that I now charge for. Happy for you guys to still utilize it. And there is a fee for it. And there was one person who was like, wow, if Nikki's going to charge for this, like I'm done. Right. And she left. And then as soon as she left working with me completely, right? Like she was one of those people and it was okay. Like, we left on good terms, but she was like, I'm not paying for this, which totally fine. And then I noticed that she still needed it. Like she still needed the service. And so what I did is I ended up creating this 15-minute coaching session with me. I call them spotlight coaching sessions. I'd never offered one before, but kind of what she was asking for was stuff that I just wasn't going to do it for free anymore. And so I just created this, and it's not like a crazy high price, but it's not a low price. And I don't feel bad if somebody pays for it. And as soon as I said, hey, I'm happy to do that. And I actually created this like little mini spotlight coaching session where you can pay this price to get this question answered. And, this is what we're going to do in these 15 minutes. What happened was she stopped asking, right? Like she stopped asking for me to do all these things for free. She still wasn't like willing to pay. She ended up hiring me for something else like this year. But what happened was then I had this like 15-minute session. And I have since had people sign up and pay for it, right? Because now I have this like one-off offer. Now you can't find this anywhere on my website, right? Like you kind of have to be an existing client to even know that there's this, well, now I just said it on air, but like that there's this like 15-minute spotlight coaching session with me. But I've been able to utilize that 15-minute spotlight coaching session. I've also used it as a bonus a time or two to have people move into like an offer that I had attached that was like, this is this bonus, you get this 15-minute with me. So I'm just wondering if maybe we need a 15-minute in your like option for people who are like, well, I don't want to pay the $750 a month, but I do have this question I need your help with. Great. Then charge them whatever you want that 15 minutes to be. And I'll just be really candid. I charge $195 for my 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's a good idea because then it's in their hands. And if they've got those additional advisory questions, they can just pay for the 15 minutes instead of paying the monthly service fee or whatever.
Yeah. And then also it starts to get people like, it gets them starting to think about, well, it's actually just a better deal to pay the $750 a month,
right?
Because I get all these other, I get access to all this other service from Heather.
Yeah.
And then for the people who are like, I'm just never going to bump up to that rate, it's just an option. And it's also, I will tell you, I've used this 15-minute coaching session so many times for people who are like, Nikki, can I just pick your brain about this one thing? Like, it's just one thing. Yeah, except for every time I stop what I'm doing to let somebody pick my brain about something, right? That disrupts my whole day or disrupts like my focus and where I'm at. So it also has helped get those people who just wanted to pick my brain for free to go away. And so I get less of those questions now of people of like, hey, can I just pick your brain? Yep. Here's the link. Go ahead and sign up for it. Looking forward to having this time with you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, again, maybe that's a backup option for you for people who are going to want a little bit more, who aren't willing to pay for it. And then you could decide whatever you want. At some point I might raise the price, like, because blocking out 15 minutes on my calendar is also like can be a little disruptive, but if it's enough, if there's enough incentive for me to do it. So maybe the price will go up, but what would that price be for you? Like, just decide.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay, good. Any other question? Anything else kind of on your mind around this topic that I can assist with?
No, I think I just have to execute. Follow through and execute, right?
Yeah. Well, as if you want to write something like this up, you can post it inside the group and tag me, and I'm happy to offer you some tweaks or some suggestions on the language. And actually, I would recommend that you do that. Like when we're done with the call today, that you go back and you write it as if you're writing to that one client that you really want to have this conversation with. Mm-hmm. So you can write it like you're sending it in an email, or you can write it like a actual live conversation, but just to give you some structure around it. So if you spend a few minutes, write up, say whatever you want to say, tag me in the group, and I'm happy to offer you some suggestions on how to like make the language land soft and yet clear, because that's the important thing too. You want to make sure that we're not leaving room for people to go, yeah, but let's negotiate, right? That we need to be congruent in the way that we communicate it.
Yeah. I have a tendency to be, you say soft and I would say hard.
You think
I'm
mine
just
is
very
hard?
frank with people. I'm very frank with people.
Oh, okay.
So I always feel like I need to soften myself to like.
Well, it's always good to, like, I would say, like, if we can just soften our rough edges, those places that feel a little rough, right? And that's why I love the language piece so much around sales, is because you can pretty much say anything as long as you say it in a way that it's going to land. And not to say there are times to be hard, frankly. There are times where people are going to push back, or people are going to take advantage or try to take advantage, where you need to take more of a hard line approach. But most of the time when you're communicating with clients, softer is, and saying it in a way that I always think about a feather, and the way a feather like floats to the ground and like it lands nice and soft. Like that's how we want our language to land. But the important point is that it still lands.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you so much for saying yes to this on-air coaching call. I hope this was helpful for you. I can't wait to hear what comes as a result as you start to implement these packages. And I always like to end the show with 2 questions. So the first question, I think you know this is coming, is what's one benefit you've received as being a part of the Sales Maven Society?
Well, my favorite part is definitely that anyone can post language or questions and get recommendations from you and from the group. And I don't participate in those very often, but I do love to read. There are so many that land close to home, and then I can see all of the advice that everyone and you post, and just get little glimpses and ideas from. So
yeah, good. Well, thank you. And thank you for being a part of the group. And then tell everybody who there might be somebody who's listening that has a holistic type business that needs advisory and financial services from you. How can people get in touch with you? How can they find out more about you and your business?
Probably the best way is to just go to my website. It's thrivingwavesfinancial.com, or you can check out Thriving Waves Financial Facebook page. We are getting ready to launch a new group of, I don't know, like a campaign, I guess you would call it, that is what your accountant should be asking you. And does your accountant ask you these questions? Awesome. So we're excited to launch that real soon.
Good. And all of Heather's contact information will be in the show notes. So if you would like to check out her business, find out more about her, and check out this amazing resource that's coming, right? Or what are the questions your accountant should be asking you? That'll be available. So, and if you, I don't know when that's going to launch, but if you want to get that to us, Heather, we can also get that link into the show notes. So just let us know. And thank you so much for listening. For those of you who got to just kind of be the person kind of sitting in the background listening to this conversation, I hope this was helpful for you as well. I'd love to hear from you as a listener, how you were able to take something that we talked about today and implement into your own business. And again, Heather, thank you so much for saying yes.
Well, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.